And we are live, I believe. All right, here we go. So today I've had an awesome day. When running in the morning, we had a HF Music Academy class on mixing. Went really well. We talked about calibrating speakers and how to hit the target level in the digital world and how to equate that with audio in the physical world. And so we're teaching the right way to do things at hfmusicacademy.com. Now, today I only have about 20 minutes because I have a consultation with somebody. So I want to get right into it. So here we go. As you guys might remember, I'm working a publishing deal, and you got to be active with these publishing deals, right? Because they expect a lot of music from you, and the turnover rate has to be there. You got to be on top of your stuff. So I've been working on this track, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if instead of manufacturing videos and playing it safe, you just kind of put yourself on the spot and go for it. That way, people can really see, the ins and outs. Like, how does it look? What is it going to take to get better? What is it going to take to get paid for doing what I do, for creating music, for producing music? What is it going to take to get to that next level? So here we are, unrehearsed. This is not manufactured. We're just listening to our hearts. We're trusting our intuitions, and let's go. Here we go. It's funny. I haven't heard this song since yesterday, and man, it sounds a lot better. It's funny how you can kind of wake up to a song and it's an entirely different experience. So I think there is a lot to say about kind of letting the song chill, don't overdo it, don't over process it. Now it's pretty much time to close up shop. The song sounds great. I'm pretty happy with most of the different feature sets. I like how the song is expanding, dynamic shifts. It's all working for me. So now I'm going to create a project alternative to signify kind of like, I'm about to start finishing this song. So kind of like final polish. One of my favorite things about Logic is you can create these project alternatives. So then now I basically clean up shop. Now we'll get into some of the more unappealing parts of the job, organizing, being clear. That's also a good education. These are not things that not many people talk about. Everyone wants to get into the hype. How sexy is this job? What kind of money am I going to make? But people don't want to go through the grind. People don't want to go through the day in and the day out process of making it happen. They're just they want the easy part of it. Let me just drag in some loops and put on a master and let it run. Well, sometimes you got to work for it. I do agree that the best times are when the tracks are just coming out, everything's fluid, life is happy, everyone's drinking champagne, kicking it. But the fact of the matter is that sometimes you're gonna have to work for it. So I've essentially trimmed off any fat. I'm just getting rid of anything that is no longer needed. So like, thank you for your services. We appreciate you. Um, if you noticed, I mute a lot of different regions when I first start. I bounce a lot of things to audio. It's just a big experiment. And now look, I'm getting to the final phase of this, right? Let's say that for whatever reason it doesn't work, or you make some serious mistakes and you want to go back. Well, this is why you create a project alternative, right? I can always go back to file, project alternative, and go back to the original. Now, in all fairness, you should probably do this more than a couple of times. You should, every time you're about to make a major change, you're about to impact your song, whether it's through the arrangement, whether it's the composition itself, any major processing, just depends. But cool. Now I'm ready to kind of group things together, color everything together. I've been interested in trying a new mix bus processing technique, so I'll probably give it a go. Like I said, I don't have as much time today, but we'll see what we can do. I know these are all snares. This is all pretty much drum stuff from what I remember, so we'll color that. If you want to color the strips here on the side, so not the regions, but the actual color bars at the side, you have to hold command while you're clicking on a color. So I've got pianos. I like to have those in green, drums in red. These are all synthesizers in blue. This is like a weird synth sound. I'm also going to keep that in the blue category. I'll go ahead and just bring it into the group there as well. So again, I'm going to hold command, and then you'll notice that this right here will be colored. All right, just getting organized. What is this? More percussion. That's red. Okay. Got the 808s in purple. These are all drums, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Let's go red. Okay, good. Good housekeeping, right? Let's say I had to revisit this song in 6 months. It's all set. I look at it, I know where everything is, and I can get right back in it. Piano. What is this? I don't remember. These are probably some synth chords. Let's go ahead and color those blue. Bring it into the synth group. All right, so I've done most of the work. Let me go ahead and start grouping everything. So let's bring the pianos, put them together. Um, Somebody asked me the other day, hey man, how long should I be working on these songs for music licensing? So let's say, you're only going to get like back end royalties, or it's maybe a low upfront cost. And it's like a tough thing to talk about, isn't it? It's a tough thing to kind of work out. Like, how hard should you work on your dream? Like, if I'm gonna work on my music, like, how much of myself should I put into it? And I thought the only like correct way to answer this is, it depends, because some days you have more energy, some day you have more time. This whole game of life, it's a game of energy and time management. There's days you wake up and you're killing it. You're getting everything done and you feel like you could just push forever. And then there's days that the body needs to rest a little bit more. It's clear. It's like you have a clear indication that We have to kind of ride this wave a little bit different. In those instances, we still got to work, right? That doesn't change. So how do I manage business and music? Because they can be two different things, right? Yeah, so it just depends. There's certain times where you're going to be able to give it your heart, give it your soul, no matter what. And then sometimes other things will take precedence, things that are more important. Just depends on what's going on. So regardless, you still got to get it done, right? Still got to finish this job. Somebody's counting on me to finish this job, right? After all the years of building myself up, just grinding and grinding and not sleeping and drinking too much coffee. Now I got jobs. I got to finish them, man. Doesn't matter it doesn't matter what the feeling is. You still got to get it done. So here we are. I grouped everything together. It looks real pretty, looks real nice. This almost kind of takes my mind into an objective place where I'm like kicking it. I don't have to overanalyze all the MIDI or the transients. I could just kind of take a step back and think about this like a producer objectively. The artist thinks about music and he thinks about it with his heart. The producer thinks about music, but he thinks about it with his mind. And that's a generality, of course, his heart's in it, but you know what I mean. He's got a bit more of a detached disposition where he can make, perhaps better decisions based on experience and based on clarity, not just based on feeling, right? So I'm gonna take another listen and I'm gonna show you before I get out of here, because I gotta split in about 10, 15 minutes. I'm gonna show you how I go through this final process. I let my brain tell me, you know, I want you to do this, I want you to do this. And rather than doing that on a notebook the way I usually do, is I'm going to just use the project notes, key command, option command P. Bear in mind, you got the project notes and you've got the track notes. So I'm going to go ahead and use the project notes. And I'm just going to take any and all notes as I listen, right? Get a critical kind of bird's eye view on it. And then I'll make my final decisions and I'll start mastering. Here we go. All right, cool. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I find that most people when they're mixing their music, and I'm not talking about creating, I'm talking about mixing it, they they don't listen to the full thing. They'll listen to like a section, they'll listen to, just the beginning, just the end. And you have to listen to the whole thing. I mean, if you're really going to conduct yourself like a professional, you got to do what professionals do. So I don't care if I got to do that 5 more times, right? If you don't have the ability to concentrate on the music to the exclusion of everything else, then this is not for you. Don't even pick it up. If you're the kind of person that kind of needs to be doing a bunch of different things at all times, my recommendation is that you do not become a mixer or you do not become a producer, because this work is for the individuals that want to grind it out brick by brick. I'm going to listen again just to make sure that all this stuff is working for me. Um, so let me go ahead and start adding some of the notes. So when I was thinking about those transitions, I was referring to these here, and I'm gonna add a transient shaper. Looks like I already added one, but it's not hard enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose a different transient shaper. Um, I could use Smack Attack, which is really good for this kind of music. Let me just take off the smooth function and see if it helps. Otherwise, I'm gonna go to Smack Attack by Waves. Yeah, it's okay, but I want you to hear what I'm talking about. I'm blown away that you can select another plugin. Oh, wait, I didn't get what I wanted. What's up with that? That's actually a nice compressor, though. We might want to check that out later. But I can have the same plugin, different company. Okay, so that's buggy. This is a real quick. Hold on, my bad. So there's a company called is it Plug Speaker Food, and they have like a plug-in search capability, search function, and it costs $15. It's really amazing, but sometimes they're still working out the bugs. Um, if you don't have it, um, it's really cool. Check them out, Speaker Food. So anyway, I'm gonna look for this manually now, the way that we used to. So I'm gonna go transient shaper and see. Do I got Smack Attack in here? All right, let's go. Okay, so here it is right here. Look at how much more aggressive this is. That. All right, cool. My thing was off. All right, cool. So let's move forward. Let's listen to this Smack Attack. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna add the clip function so it goes a little harder. Okay, good. So then harder transition. Let's keep moving. Bounce to pads. All right, so let's listen here. I just want to add a little bit of movement to those pads. You can use a lot of plugins. I'm just going to throw in LFO tool by X for Records. I usually like to do this soloed. See what this sounds like. All right, so I heard the pumping by itself, but then it wasn't cutting through the mix. And so I thought, okay, if I use this feature here and I raise up the resonance, maybe I can hear that specific resonance cut through the mix a little bit. So, and I heard it. So here is without, take a listen. So that sounds good. Now let's add this. All right, and obviously it has to cut through the mix. So that's the main thing. I don't want to have too much of a filter cut off. It has to be somewhere where it works. So we're going to try and find that sweet spot. Here we go. Yep, that works for me. I like what that feels like. I try not to overanalyze. So let's keep moving. Little bounce to, let's add a little bit of verb to the piano. I obviously don't want this to be like super wet or cavernous. It should just have the right feel, right? So let's listen to this part here. All right, so I'm gonna compress the piano because right now, what's going on? Eldon, good to see you, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and compress just so that the piano is very consistent throughout that entire performance. So let's turn it on. Here we go. Yeah, so compression we could talk about for 40 years, but the point is when the compression is off, I'm hearing the dynamic nature of the performance. When the compression is on, it becomes more static and robot like, which is good for hip hop especially, right? We don't need virtuosic piano playing. It could just be a basic line. It's a pretty simple line and it needs to be heard. Check it out. Okay, so yeah, after second thought, after listening to the piano with these pads that were very washed out, it's like right here somewhere. kind of felt like they already have a lot of reverb, so I'm gonna X out this note, right? You're not always gonna have the right note. So sometimes you just have to hear it again, make another decision, make sure that it fits. And now I'm at low end on the kick. So this is always an interesting little battle. Sometimes the bass wins and sometimes I win. Let's see how it goes. I want to listen to the bass and see what register it sits in. Sometimes it's good just to watch it. It's pretty much dominating all the low end. Sometimes you have basses that are in different registers. So anyway, I'll take a note. Let's keep track of the kick. Wonder where that sits. Just throw in an EQ. Let's analyze. All right. So this is kind of like your quintessential, the bass is in the way kind of thing. And so I would love to hear the kick first and then the 808. So time for sidechaining. So I'm gonna go onto the 808. I'm doing this really cool trick that we'll be covering in hfmusicacademy.com on how to get these really big bass sounds. So check that out. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and sidechain, and I'll use Smart Compressor. This thing's pretty gnarly. Let me be sure that I got the name of the kick. Sometimes I like to just like name it appropriately, just so I know where I'm going here. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and record the bass into Smart Compressor by Sonable. Really cool plugin. Check them out. Hold on, they have these algorithms. Let's just use one. All right, interesting decisions. Usually, I find that the plugin makes very conservative decisions, right? It's kind of compressing for me, but the best feature of this is the spectral compression. This is like way beyond my jurisdiction, but essentially it uses EQing and harmonics. It takes it into account. So it's not just side chaining per volume. It's side chaining per frequency. And yeah, pretty cool stuff. So I'm gonna go to audio. Let's side chain where are we here? Kick trigger. Didn't I type it in? Boom. All right. Now let's hear the result. Here we go. Okay, I'll take it. I'll take it. So let's see if that creates any separation. I want to hear more of the kick and less of the bass, essentially. All right, cool. And for my final trick, I'm going to be inserting an imager inside. Now, it's funny, like with the philosophy of an imager, the question's always like, well, where should I put it? Should I put it in the beginning or should I put it at the end? And there's a rule of thumb. If your song has imaging problems, in other words, if it's too narrow, if it's just kind of bland, and you need more kind of space and depth, then you use it in the beginning, right? Kind of like right before the first EQ or even before that. Um, and I've never really done it that way because I always like the space that I create. And so if you just want to improve the stereo width a little bit, then you want to do it right before the limiter. So for the very first time, let me just try it in the beginning. I'll just go, I don't know if it should be before or after the compressor. I'm going to double check on that. But let me just insert an imager. See how it goes. Boom. Okay. Yeah, this thing is a beast right here. I love it so much. Certain plugins that you know you wouldn't be able to breathe without. This is one of them. Here, let's take a listen. I'll tell you that's a lot more subtle because I'm used to putting that at the end, and I can hear like a big change. And obviously, it's coming earlier in the processing, so it's being affected a little bit differently. I dig it. I try things out. Not afraid to try it out. If anything, it's just research. You just try it, pick up some notes, and maybe you'll try it again. Maybe you won't. But cool. The song has come a long way. If you listen to the last session, you can hear a bunch of developments. But let's keep pushing. I got to get out of here. I have a session in a bit. Thank you guys very much for watching In the Mix with Eddie Gray. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Keep pushing, guys. You can do it. Get out there. Keep pushing.